Welcome to the Leadership in Law podcast with host Marilyn Jenkins. Cut through the noise, get actionable insights and inspiring stories delivered straight to your ears. Your ultimate podcast for navigating the ever-changing world of law firm ownership. In each episode, we dive deep into the critical topics that matter most to you, from unlocking explosive growth to building a thriving team. We connect you with successful firm leaders and industry experts who share their proven strategies and hard-won wisdom. So, whether you're a seasoned leader or just starting your journey as a law firm owner, the Leadership in Law podcast is here to equip you with the knowledge and tools you need to build a successful and fulfilling legal practice.
Welcome to another episode of the Leadership in Law podcast. I'm your host, Marilyn Jenkins. Please join me in welcoming my guest, Russell Van Brocklen, to the show today. Russell is known to many as the Dyslexic Professor. He's a New York State Senate-funded dyslexia researcher and founding consultant of dyslexia classes, where he helps professionals, students, and families take practical, evidence-based steps to overcome reading and writing challenges. Russell's work began over 2 decades ago in collaboration with the New York State Education Department and SUNY's Research Foundation. His groundbreaking techniques have helped motivated dyslexic high school writers raise their skills to graduate-level standards and go on to complete college without accommodation. He's presented at national conferences, including the International Dyslexia Association and Everyone Reading. He's on a mission to flip the wait-and-see approach to dyslexia. Through structured literacy and multisensory methods, he gives professionals concrete tools they can use to communicate clearly and simply. I'm excited to have you here, Russell. Welcome.
Thanks for having me.
Absolutely. This sounds like an incredible journey. Can you tell us a little bit about it?
I wasn't supposed to be doing this. I was supposed to be a bureaucrat for the New York State government. When I showed up for the assembly internship program in the late 90s, I had a first grade reading and writing level. They pulled me out of the internship, put me in, they treated me like a graduate student, allowed me to give an oral presentation instead of a 30-page written report. And everything was great. They recommended 3.67 for 15 credits. The political science department at the State University of New York Center of Buffalo said they didn't like the accommodations the state government came up with. So they said, here's your 15 credits of F.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I had enough of the discrimination. I went to law school. My professor, the audit classes, second day of contracts, the professor called on me. I responded. He had to finally not stop the communication because I was arguing with him for 15 minutes straight as his equal. Just my first time doing it. That's where I found that dyslexics excel in graduate school day one. So from there, I learned to read within a month in law school. I learned to write within a couple of years. Then I went and I got Senate funding after years and years after that to go through everything. We took a bunch of highly motivated dyslexic high school juniors and seniors, jumped their reading level from middle school to average of entering grad students in 180 sessions, cost New York State less than $900 a kid. Then just so everybody knows briefly what dyslexia is, this is the top book, Overcoming Dyslexia by Shelley Shaywitz. That's dyslexia. That part of my brain has nothing going on. Yours is going crazy. What we're going to discuss today is the overactive front part of the brain, which is 2.5 times overactive for dyslexics. When I shift this over to deal with typical students, it's based on word analysis followed by articulation, which we'll be discussing today. And the effect on that, a homeschooling mom is able to, in about 6 months, increase her kids' reading and writing by 7 times faster than the school system, bring them up from 11th to 11th percentile in reading, 4th percentile in writing, to 65th and 64th percentile. So the students now in private school, in public school, doing just fine in normal classes. So it really accelerates things tremendously.
Oh, that's fantastic. And I know what you've done is you've taken your work and created it, working with professionals to be able to get on the video bandwagon, as we say, because then when it comes to being online, video is one of the best ways of getting your firm out there.
Yes. Here's a few things that has happened since artificial intelligence. One thing that your lawyers have to understand is that you can now, if you spend thousands of dollars, have an avatar created for you and it'll speak for you. Your viewers hate this. They don't know if it's you or not. So there was every Sunday morning, I review these sort of podcasts on these to keep up. There was one, he was an economics professor. He said, I'm staying ahead of AI. His writing dropped 75 to 90%. There's a lot of podcasts, a lot of videos, a lot of in person. What I've noticed is when I followed his videos to make sure that he's not, and people know he's not an AI, he looks a little disheveled in some way, some little error. Now, I know attorneys like to be perfectly manicured. Now, that could be associated with people not thinking, is this a real person or is this AI? If it's AI, they even think it's AI, they're gone.
Okay.
Just gone. So I found just looking something a little bit disheveled, maybe having a handkerchief a little bit out, maybe something in the background where it's not quite perfect, something small. And when you do that, what I've noticed is that people know, okay, this is real. Because if they think you're an AI generated thing, they're just gone. And that's one of the key things that I found when doing this.
And are you finding that some attorneys or professionals, not just attorneys, would use those fake avatars to just help them get that crutch of getting the content out there?
Oh, no, it's so much easier. They will help create the content with the AI. And then they just feed it into this. They don't have to do multiple takes. They don't have to do this. The other thing that people are doing is they're just taking their iPhone and holding it up and doing it like the old way. And then people know if they don't want to look disheveled, just doing it that way, it's not perfect. They know that this is real.
Yeah.
It's just little things like that, because if they think that you're an avatar, they're gone. Everything else means nothing. So that's just one of the few things I want to communicate. Just holding your phone up and clicking it, just going on for 45 seconds, boom, you're done.
Right.
Don't try to make it edit. Don't try to just get it out there.
Right. In your own voice, so people can
Right.
hear you as you speak. And it's the video to me is the know and trust factor, right? People do business with people they know and trust. So you want to put yourself out there, not an AI avatar. But say that I'm a law firm and I really know the value of the weekly videos, but you never follow through. From your perspective, what do you find is stopping them from doing that?
It's the same thing. People, they don't have an organized, as somebody who's been through a good chunk of law school, we're taught how to do things very analytically, very efficiently, and we just don't have a process for this. So now I'm going to give you, again, I'm going to go back. This is the dyslexic brain. I'm going to show you what I use for the overactive front part of the brain to teach dyslexics to read. And I also teach this to non-dyslexics for public speaking.
Okay.
Okay. And it's going to be different for each individual person. So you're going to want to designate a company spokesperson for this, somebody who's going to be doing this. And here's the process. I call it the half circle process. So let me give you an analogy on why this is so powerful. I'm going to use movie reviews. Tell me a movie that you enjoy that everybody's seen. It's one of the best movies of all time.
Oh my gosh. Let's go Titanic.
Titanic. Okay. Tell me what the movie about Titanic is about in one word. One universal thing. What is it?
Romance?
Romance. Okay. Now, so what we would do, I want you to remember, you go and watch a movie, you read a review written by Ivy League educated people. Have you noticed that they generally say this happened? It's like getting the football score of a game you missed. It's like, why watch it? Make sense?
Yes. Yes.
So here's what we would do. We would take the universal theme of romance and we would ask, how did the actors, the directors, and the screenwriter do in regards to that universal theme, and read it that way.
Okay.
Okay. But you see the problem when you're talking about romance, it's so broad, it's not you. It's
Right.
you. It's just the first idea that you come with. So the first idea you come with is generally so broad, but it's not how you want to communicate it. This isn't your firm. This isn't you. How do we do this distinctly? So what we do is I call it the hero, the universal theme, and the optimum villain. Okay. So we start off with the hero. What does the hero want to do? And then you write out in a sentence, in a paragraph, in multiple paragraphs. I'm suggesting you use artificial intelligence. Specifically, what I find best for this is ChatGPT 5.1 thinking.
Okay.
It just came out and it's a lot better. The thinking will give you more time than generally need. It gives you right time, and you don't have to wait with Pro, and it's $20 a month.
Okay.
So just take it and say, okay, what is the hero? What do we want to do? What do we want to communicate this week? and then just tell the AI what it is and have it generate a bunch of paragraphs. Okay, read it over. Don't make it a lot. Give it a limit, 2 paragraphs, 3, whatever. Then you're going to ask it to extract all the action words. These are words that will take the hero from where they are to where you want to go. Extract all of them. Then extract all the most important words in each sentence. Those are the most important words in each sentence. For each one, what you want to do is ask the AI to come up with custom definitions. And you can go ahead and ask the AI based on what you want to do, what's the best action word and why, what's the best, most important word and why. I would say have it come up with a top 5 or the top 10 with its custom definitions. Then you as the human have to make that decision. Okay. Decide which ones you like and then decide which way you want to go. Once you get used to this, you can have the AI do its thinking, thinks for 30 seconds, a minute, 2. I go and do something else during that time while it's thinking. And then I quickly go through that process very quickly. That base universal theme is like what you did with Titanic. You use the word romance. It's very broad. So then what I would do is I would say, okay, this is the way I want to go. The actual word, the most important word. Normally it's the most important word, but as you can see, this is a form of word analysis. Okay. So we're shifting to this part of the brain. All right. So once you have that, then what you want to do is to have it create like 50 synonyms or 100 synonyms and custom definitions. And then say, run through that, say, what are the top 5 or 10? I generally go with 10 because I want to make sure I get it right. That best represents what we want to do here. And now you're going to see something much more precise. You as the human has to pick that. If you're not happy, do another 50 or 100 until you're happy. This is the universal theme that you're now going to project that is much more personal. It's what's in you want the definition and the word that best matches what's in your head, but a word that also feels right between those two. Does it match what's in my head and does it feel right? And you have to come up with a combination of that. Once you get used to doing this, you do this in a matter of your time, just a couple of minutes. You do something else while the AI is thinking, which for 5.1 is 30 seconds to a couple of minutes, normally about 30 to 60 seconds.
Okay.
Once you have that universal theme, I think you're done for a 45-second one. If you want to go further, you could say, what is the optimum villain preventing me from doing this? Is it a person or a concept? If it's a person, there you go. If it's a concept, go through the same process until you have the best concept.
Okay.
That's what's holding you back. Now, once you understand that, I would say add because and come up with a few good reasons. 1, 2, or 3. Usually you don't have to do much for 45 seconds. If you do 2 or 3 reasons, you're overthinking it, which is a good thing. So you
Okay.
go ahead, you get that. Now you know what to say. I do all of this in less than 5 minutes.
Okay.
These and similar things. Then what you can do is just grab your iPhone, turn it on, record, and just talk for 45 seconds. Attorneys are really good at this once you have things organized in your head. Please understand, you put a different person into this, it's going to be a different universal theme because it's to that person. So you're going to want to pick somebody that best represents the firm.
Okay.
And then what I would do is I would just do a bunch of these things. You're going to tell them to do 1 a week. I have literally had people, not so much sometimes in law, but in a lot of other businesses do this. And they would just crank out 5, 10 of these in just one sitting. And
Right.
now they're done. They hand them over to the marketing person and the results are really good.
Yeah. Batching content is definitely the way to go. Yeah.
Just doesn't take, but the key thing is it's specifically you. You're finding the word that just feels right with the definition that seems right. And it's a balancing act. And then that's your universal theme. Once you understand that, you know who your optimum villain is, you have some reasons. Lawyers are trained to talk. They're trained to
Mhm.
respond instantly. That's what the Socratic method was all about in law school. Then you just get up, you hit record with your phone, boom, you're done.
Okay, excellent. So in that scenario, the hero is the attorney or is the potential client that you're talking to?
It could be whatever you're trying to communicate. In any story,
Right.
there's a hero. The hero wants to do something. It's based on a universal theme, and you have an optimum villain trying to prevent them from accomplishing it.
Okay.
Every
And yeah, so
story has that.
every story has it. Yeah, excellent. So I know that we had talked about at one point, it's coming up with the ideas. And one of the things I try to get to stimulate those ideas is your FAQs, right? Every customer has the same, say, 3 to 7 questions. That right there is 3 to 7 video ideas. So your system would also help them get the script down to be able to communicate each one of those, right?
Yes. And what I do with that is I use, just so everybody knows, when OpenAI came up with its $200 Pro plan last December, I bought it that day and I haven't looked back. But
Okay.
what I found is when I'm trying to generate ideas like this, Sonic 4.5 from Apogee, these are people that used to found OpenAI and then they moved on to their own company. I find that is much better to use for brainstorming ideas like this
Okay.
and for coming up with ideas, night and day better. Okay. So I would simply say, here's what I'm looking for. Here are my ideas. What can we do with this? And it'll give you a lot of ideas. All right. And I will take that now. And I'll also generate ideas from 5 Pro. Okay. When I'm
Okay.
generating ideas, yes, I'm spending $300 a month, 200 on ChatGPT Pro, 100 on Apogee, and it's worth it. It's about $10 a day because I do work 30 days every month.
Okay.
So I bounce them back and forth, especially with idea generation. What do you like? What do you don't like? And then as a human, you make the judgment. Okay. A lot of times when it comes to idea generation, I will actually have an assistant do the grunt work, and then I'll look at what came up and make the decision. Okay. The artificial intelligence isn't something you can form out, but it can make your brainstorming much more efficient, drastically more efficient. And then you pick the ideas you like. And then for each of your FQA, I can typically get 5 or 10 videos out of each one with something that's slightly different.
Okay.
I would take those video sets and run them. If you have 7 of them, do 7 in a row, then repeat something with a slightly different question. People aren't going to remember your 45-second video from 7 weeks ago. Not much.
No, but they'll
Okay.
remember they saw you. So you're getting that repeat exposure. Yeah.
Right. But what the AI is going to give you is a slightly different way of looking at each one.
Okay.
Okay. So what I would do is I would just do a series of, I would just do 7 and just get it over with and do the next series. And as you get used to this at one time, you will get extremely efficient at this. And it's invaluable for your marketing.
So when we're talking about this and like SEO, the thing is with the answer engine optimization, we
Mhm.
want to focus on that question being something that a human would ask.
Right.
So what you're saying, if I can take that question of what I know someone would ask and that the way it would be phrased when they type it into ChatGPT or whatever, then take those answers and you can make a different video and spin the answer a little bit different way. Even
Right.
spin the question slightly.
And people aren't going, but if you're consistently answering very similar things, then it's going to slowly build up with people over time. Think about the advertising like with Coke. They just want to let you know that they exist and that you see it enough times. So when you're looking at a soft drink, it clicks on. That's
Right.
what you're doing here. But you're doing it much more focused wise. And I would take the series that you have, do a video on each one, and then use the AI to say, how do we do this a little differently? And
Right.
then run that through 7. And you can keep going back through it. And that continual buildup is what people like when I'm just going to throw it out. If you got into a car crash and
Mhm.
they saw those persons over and over again, instead of going and spending $500,000 a year in local advertising, if you're doing this and you're doing it properly in social media, this isn't some paid commercial. It's going to be trusted more. And then those are the people they tend to call.
Yeah, and it's also reinforcing brand awareness. So you're saying the same thing, slightly different, but communicating the
Mhm.
value each time. And I love the idea that you're suggesting your iPhone. So many people are worried that they need to get some fancy equipment, a video production team or something in. And literally with a $15 tripod, ring light stand, make good lighting, that's all you need, and your phone. We all have phones that shoot 4K.
But again, you can't do that. You need to find some imperfection so they know that you're not AI.
Yeah, but I'm
Okay.
saying you don't need fancy equipment.
Oh no, the simple thing that you need is you go up, like just for my video, you can see part of my doorway in the back.
Mhm.
it's an imperfection. People know that I'm real. So what I would I would, a lot of people I would just go to Best Buy. They have a ring light that's like this big. Put your phone right in the middle of it.
Mm.
Okay. Yeah. It costs $130, but it's right there. Okay.
Yeah.
And then you take that, what I'm using here, these are Apple 3 Pros. They're new Pro. It is worth it because I was on a walk with a Mack truck going by me at 45 miles an hour, 4 feet away, and people said, yeah, there's a little bit of noise, but it wasn't worth mentioning.
Nice.
But it gets rid of all the traffic, the barking dog, all the things that we hate.
Yeah.
All right. And
The
then I
distraction.
would just do it right on your iPhone.
Okay.
And just do a take, and it doesn't have to be perfect. You don't want it perfect. Know that you're a human. Do that, just knock them out, and then, because this is not billable time, you want to just do it decent, get it out there, send it to you, get back to your clients.
Yeah, exactly. Now, do you have a step-by-step process as far as, say, I'm not really sure what the message is that I want? I know that one time we talked about the 4 paragraphs of getting,
Mhm.
this down, but we want to make sure we've got, some people would feel better with a script, that they can learn the script and then they can riff off the script and not have to read the words. I think that's the one thing that people are worried about is you want to be able to speak. Attorneys are taught to speak. So I don't think
Right.
a script is really the answer, but some would feel better having something to begin with.
Sure. I have a process I've taught some attorneys of how to do this over the past 20 years, because you can imagine when you're dealing with dyslexics, a lot of them are suing school districts and going to court over it. Yeah, I can polish that up and get to you in the next 24 hours so you can give that to your attorneys. Yes, that's easy to do.
Very interesting. Cool. Yeah, and I like the idea of starting with a real question and answering that question and being able to I never even thought about taking ChatGPT and having it to give me 5 or 7 different answers or feedbacks to that. So you're even building more content. So if you did this once a week, you'd end up with 7 pieces of content and it would take
Ru-
you less than an hour.
And the key thing, once you get used to it, yeah, besides that it's thinking, going back and forth, yeah, that's about right. But I also can't overemphasize enough. You also need to double check it with Apogee Sonic 4.5. Because when
Okay.
it comes to business writing communication, they decided Apogee decided they're not here for consumers. They're not doing videos of cats and all this other stuff. They're there for business communication for businesses. That's all they
Okay.
do. And they're right. It's so much better in a lot of ways. But I find when I'm looking to do deep problem solving, 5 Pro is so much better with deep thinking. So I run them together and I get drastically better results.
Okay. But the point is to actually do it. If you need, use the AI to help you with your ideas and your
Mhm.
answers, but just do it and be real and be yourself.
And remember, it's only 45 seconds. Just go ahead. And for those Android people, I know what you're going to say. I find it's just easier to get an iPhone for these sort of things because these are so great. I have been on podcasts with a dog barking like crazy and nobody hears anything.
Nice.
And these do
Yeah.
not work
There's
as
a
well
line
with,
drawn in the sand. I have both iPhone and Samsung. But yeah, I think there's definitely a line in the sand if you're on one side of the argument or the other.
I'm just saying for this, I've spoken to people who are big Samsung people, Google phones, and they're like, yes, this does work so much better just for and that's all they use it for. But they were going to go out and spend all this ridiculous equipment. And now it's a phone and they don't need the latest phone. They get something from the Apple store, a little old. But they get the ring light, they put it up, they get these, which are $250. That's it. And they just knock these things out. And they say it's doing really well. The problem they have to find is how do we come up with something that's a little disheveled someplace so they know that they're not an AI? Because I've shown people how to do this and they had it all perfect. And the
Yeah.
results went, "Meep." And then they asked their customers, what's going on? They said, we don't like your fake avatar every time.
Yeah.
And they said, no, it's me. How do we know that? It looks too perfect.
I
And
love that you use the door in your background to show that you're not. An avatar would be definitely a clean background. Yeah.
people like, yeah, I keep things a little off. I do a few other little things you can probably notice. There's some cat hair on my hat. Just a few little things. And that is because this is that important. I can overemphasize how
It is interesting
I've
getting the feedback, though. Like you say, I mean,
Mhm.
with 11 labs and all these different platforms now, they do make it easy to just tell it what you want to say by giving it some sample of you and your mannerisms, and it's easy to knock out content. But
Oh no,
you're
it's far
actually
beyond
seeing
that.
feedback.
These people will literally go and drop 5-10 grand for this
Yeah,
to make this custom avatar. It's that good. And
yeah.
the anti-reaction to that is so incredibly strong.
That is interesting. So, yeah,
Yeah,
again,
nobody
what
else is
we've
telling
always
this.
said, just speak to the camera and just speak to that person. Give them the answers to their questions.
Yeah. But everybody says I'm the only one who noticed this. I said, yeah, I'm dyslexic. We notice things like this.
We notice things differently. This has been quite interesting. Again, I like your process. I'm
Mhm.
intrigued that the systems that you're using to help get that video content out there. And I think the bottom line is be yourself. Don't try to be
Mhm.
vague and answer the questions with a short 45-second video and get that content out there. People see you, people know and trust you, and they'll call you when they have a need.
Yes, I know this because I do this all the time.
Excellent, excellent. I know my listeners may want to reach out to you, connect with you, chat with you a little bit more about this process and how they can get involved. Where can they connect with you?
The easiest thing to do is to go to dyslexiaclasses.com. That's with an S, dyslexiaclasses.com, and just fill out the contact form. Or for attorneys, I rarely do this on podcasts, but my business phone number is 518-892-2202. Again, that's 518-892-2202. Best thing to do is just text me, tell me you're on this podcast, and when a convenient time would be. I manage my important contacts through text.
Okay.
And that's just the simplest way of doing it.
All right. I'll make sure that the phone number and the URL is in the show notes. And fantastic. I really appreciate your time. This has been an interesting conversation today, a different aspect of our outlook for AI.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks for joining me today for this episode. As we wrap up, I'd love for you to do two things. First, subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss an episode. And if you find value here, I'd love it if you would rate it and review it. That really does make a difference in helping other people to discover this podcast. Second, you can connect with me on LinkedIn to keep up with what I'm currently learning and thinking about. And if you're ready to take the next step with a digital strategist to help you grow your law firm, I'd be honored to help you. Just go to lawmarketingzone.com to book a call with me. Stay tuned for our next episode next week. Until then, as always, thanks for listening to Leadership in Law Podcast, and be sure to subscribe wherever you listen to podcasts so you don't miss the next episode.
Thanks for joining us on another episode of the Leadership in Law Podcast. Remember, you're not alone on this journey. There's a whole community of law firm owners out there facing similar challenges and striving for the same success. Head over to our website at lawmarketingzone.com. From there, connect with other listeners, access valuable resources, and stay up to date on the latest episodes. Don't forget to subscribe and leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform. Until next time, keep leading with vision and keep growing your firm.